It's once again our final. Wichita State 11, Kansas State 20. Coming up next, we go back to our studio for Bases Loaded. For Danny Graves and our entire crew, I'm Kevin Dunn. Good afternoon from Thornton Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas.
For those of you that just watched Kansas State and Wichita State over on ESPNU, we welcome you to our coverage of Bases Loaded. We're going to take you around all the regional sites, get you caught up on what's going on. Coming up next on ESPNU at the top of the hour, East Tennessee State against Vanderbilt, the Nashville Regional. Vandy had a spectacular season in the SEC. Some thought their resume was worthy of a #1 seed. They end up getting the #2 overall seed. Was Vandy the 1 seed?
I think you get a good argument, honestly, between Vandy, LSU, and North Carolina. I think it was one of those three. And the reality, the way that everything sets up is whether you're the 1 or you're the 8, it's still an advantage either way. You get a host all the way through super regionals, which is really all that matters for Vandy. Would you like it? I think it's more of an ego thing to get the 1. I think they're in a pretty good spot. I think it's interesting they're throwing Kevin Zomek, though, in the opener. It's been Zomek and Beatty the entire season. Zomek has really been their ace the entire year, and they'll go Zomek in the opener against East Tennessee State. North Carolina, who is the #1 overall seed, off to a hot start, but a little bit of a bind here again. Canisius loaded him in the first. Now they load him again here in the second.
And you talked about Vandy going with their ace in game 1. North Carolina holding its ace, Kent Emanuel, until tomorrow.
Yeah, they go Benton Moss today, who has been in the rotation the entire season. So you're throwing a guy who's been in some big spots. But still, Emanuel has been the ace for North Carolina really since his freshman year. I mean, since the minute that Kent Emanuel stepped on, he has been their ace. Benton Moss got a big punch out to get out of a jam. Now 2-0 count, bases loaded to Canisius. But the offense showed up in the first for North Carolina. A double for Stubbs, and then a few more later on in the inning. So I think they're going to score some runs against this Canisius pitching staff. Let's see if they can pitch out of another jam. Benton Moss here in the second.
He's had all the success he's had. A little bit longer to work his way in or out of trouble. But they started that bullpen awfully early.
And it's 3-0.
I mean, that says it all right there. 2-0 pitch with the bases loaded. You're throwing a breaking ball. He has no confidence in his fastball right now. So otherwise, you would not throw a breaking ball 2-0 in this situation. So we might see a pitching change sooner than later for the Tar Heels, despite the fact they have a 3-0 lead.
Does groove in the fastball there to stay in the at-bat. For the second consecutive inning, Canisius has the bases loaded with 2 outs. Moss was able to pick up a big strikeout to end the first. What will he do here in inning number 2? Down in the count, 3-1. And he ends up walking Lupins and bringing in a run. Second walk of the inning issued by Moss. RBI number 48 for Jimmy Lupins.
Another good at bat for Lupins. I mean, did not expand. He didn't expand his zone last time. Didn't expand that time. And I think his first at bat was crucial to giving Canisius some confidence. And again, Brooklyn Foster last time wrapped a single up the middle on the first fastball he saw. So Benton Moss not out of the woods yet.
Guides in the breaking ball for a strike.
Can't tell if that Bronx cheer was for the umpire or for Benton Moss.
Maybe a little bit of both.
I think so.
Bends in another. And let's not act as though Canisius is not a good offensive team. In fact, of these two teams, Canisius has a better team batting average, 307, while the Tar Heels hit 305. Of course, the level of competition is different, but
third of the nation in on-base percentage.
Sure.
This is par for the course, taking all these pitches.
Moss, though, bounces back with a 3-pitch strikeout of the cleanup hitter Foster.
In progress scores, day 1 of the NCAA Regionals, college baseball. It's the road to Omaha. LSU trying to put the ribbon and wrapping paper on their contest against Jackson State. The Tigers, one of 8 national seeds, leading 11-5. UConn on top of Virginia Tech, the host of the Blacksburg Regional, 1-0 that game in the top of the 5th. For those of you watching on ESPNU, we're going to step aside.
This is the computer ICU. It's what happens to your computer when it gets infected, slows down, and crashes. And if you don't do something, your computer could wind up here in the computer graveyard. But it could be saved with mycleanpc.com.
Is your computer running slow? Are you frustrated with error messages, blue screens, computer freezes, and crashes? Then go to mycleanpc.com for your free diagnosis today. Then just activate the mycleanpc.com software to fix it in minutes. And computer specialists are available while you're online.
The best thing about mycleanpc.com was it had a free diagnosis.
My computer is 100% faster.
You know immediately what the problem is, and the problem is solved right then and there.
Download your free diagnosis today at mycleanpc.com.
They call him Yaz, too. Mike Yastrzemski, Carl's grandson, a first-team All-SEC selection. Vanderbilt, the #2 overall seed in this tournament, taking on East Tennessee State. That's at the top of the hour on ESPNU. Earlier today, Alabama taking on Troy, and it was Trey Santos for Troy. He's got some pop, 17 homers, tied for 4th in the nation. How about Troy knocking off Alabama 5-2?
Troy's a dangerous team, especially in that ballpark. It's a team that's built on the home run. Over 50 home runs on the season for Troy. And how about this one for Austin Peay? Looked like they might be down and out. Florida goes to the bullpen. Home run for Austin Peay. And the Governors win the opener. 4-3 over Florida to send Florida to the loser's bracket.
It's been that kind of day for the SEC. William and Mary against Ole Miss. Jonathan Sartry with the hit to left field to bring in 2. William and Mary, the Tribe, takes it 4-2 over the Rebels. Ole Miss, though, they did hold their race until tomorrow.
They did, but now they're in the loser's bracket. First win for William and Mary in NCAA tournament play. A team that got in as an at-large. Impressive for the Tribe today to win the opener against an Ole Miss club that, although they threw Mike Myers, Myers still had a pretty good season. Ole Miss out of the SEC continues what has been a tough day so far for that conference.
They tied a record with 9 teams in the field of 64. So far, 0-4. And LSU continues to play with fire here against Jackson State. A couple of minutes ago, Jackson State just hit a 2-run homer. They've got a man on first in the top of the 9th. Still nobody out. And Jackson State down by 4. Meanwhile, over in L.A., Cal Poly taking on San Diego. A good one going there. 2 on right now in the bottom of the 6th for Cal Poly as they look to get some insurance on a 1-run lead.
And look at LSU, too. LSU having to go to Joey Bourgeois in this spot, which now they're using their top guys out of the bullpen. And again, I think it's a spot coming in if you're Palminary. You're thinking, okay, if Ryan Eads goes deep, which he didn't, now maybe we can save our bullpen, which they haven't. They haven't had to go to Chris Cotton, their closer, yet, but Bourgeois is one of the top guys out of the bullpen. If you stretch him out, does that mean you can't use him tomorrow? It's not the ideal opener. If you win, it's important, obviously, but LSU's not sneaking past this one like I think they thought they would.
Yeah, you want a little reserve in the tank. Still a lot of baseball to play. I got a couple of more. We got a pitching change in L.A., so San Diego is going to make a move, and we get you back out to Baton Rouge. The other thing we failed to mention earlier was in this game, LSU, Alex Bregman, Rafe Rhymes colliding in the outfield. They both left the game. 2 integral parts of that offense.
And it looked like, to me, when Bregman stood up, he looked like he got his bell rung. I mean, he got up, kind of went back to a knee. Rhymes had blood, and it was streaming out of his nose. Cody Glenn will miss the entire weekend. He's suspended. And Ryan Eads come out and doesn't throw the ball well. But again, if you look up and they win game 1, you can kind of forget everything else and say, all right, we're 1-0. Let's worry about it tomorrow. They can sit back and watch Lafayette and Sam Houston go at it later on tonight.
LSU needs 3 outs to get that first win. Meanwhile, UConn taking on Virginia Tech, the Blacksburg Regional. Huskies putting a lot of pressure on Joe Mantiply and this Virginia Tech defense. Seems they've got a couple runners on in every inning.
Yeah, they do. And how about the job that Carson Cross has done so far, too, for UConn? 4 innings. He has walked 3, struck out 2, but has not given up a run yet for Virginia Tech. First time that they have hosted in Blacksburg. But at this point, UConn and the team that was the 8th seed in the Big East tournament would not have got in unless they won that Big East tournament. They're making it tough on Virginia Tech so far.
He's got an RBI situation and one of his best guys up.
Low strike, 3-1.
Another scenario here. He could challenge or
Put him on.
maybe go to that changeup.
Even if you're walking, you still got the double play in order.
That's right.
Bases loaded in L.A. San Diego has made a pitching change. Let's get you out there in the Los Angeles Regional. San Diego, the Toreros taking on Cal Poly. Cal Poly at the plate, 1-run lead, looking to tack on against San Diego. They've got the bases loaded.
With that one, 2-1. We just had a look at the infield in the middle. Short and second are playing for the double play. At first base, he's coming home. At third base, I dare say if it's at him or to his left, he might go to second, but anything to his right, he's coming home to prevent that run from scoring.
Inside, 3-1, and now Conlon in danger, walking a run in.
This is a turning point, Trey, in the game for both teams.
Fifth time he's gone to this count, 3 balls in at-bats. Here he is, 3-1. Inside, he walks him. He walks in the run, and Cal Poly now leads 4-2.
And he missed pretty badly inside. Leaves the bases loaded. Another run scored.
So a 4-2 lead now for the Mustangs, and now they get the top part of their order. Denver Chavez. Conley with the first walks issued to him today.
LSU has
out to Baton Rouge now. This Jackson State team, Kyle, does not go away.
They're not going anywhere. The other thing that I like, too, Jackson State's approach at the plate has not been going up and swinging. And part of it is because LSU's put a bunch of guys on base. It started with Eads, and they haven't been able to throw a bunch of strikes. But Jackson State, and you expect in that setting, in that environment, you get LSU's crowd into it. But they have hung in there and taken some really aggressive swings all the way throughout this one.
A single his last time up. Ground ball to second. This could do it. And indeed it does.
There's the pitch that we're talking about. Maneri getting that ground ball.
LSU gets it done. First win of the day for the SEC game, ending double play. But Kyle, as you alluded to earlier, LSU gave up a lot in terms of using pitchers in this game.
Yeah, a little bit more than I think LSU thought that they would get out of Jackson State. UConn after an impressive 1-2, 2-0 over Va-Tech.
For those of you watching on ESPNU, we'll be back after this.
I am Sophie.